The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Good morning. Court Radio is now in session. Call 215-227-2727. When you've got legal questions, we've got the answers. This is Court Radio. And now here's your host, Dean Weitzman.
You're joining Court Radio. If you've got legal questions, we've got the answers. Give us a call at 215-227-2727. Join in the studio with my co-host, the one, the only, the inimitable David M. Rappaport.
Good morning.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great, dude. Listen
nice
to
day
that
today.
crowd.
Yeah, I'm used to it already. It just...
Yeah.
I expect it now.
Stardom.
Yeah, I come in Monday morning to work. I expect a big thing like that, and I get nothing.
You get zip.
Nothing.
So, it's going to be kind of a sunny day today, and a little bit on the warm side. You're having battery trouble, aren't you?
I am. I can't hear you.
You're a tech pro. You got tech problems.
I got that, yeah.
I gave you these headset. The headset cost me, I don't know, like $300. And now you're going with an old ratty headset because, why? You leave on the batteries every week, and every week you come in with dead headset.
It's actually not that. It's this connection into this thing here. But we'll work around it.
Okay.
We're good.
We're good. We got a special guest.
Guest host.
Well, he's not really a host.
We're going to kick him out of here in 2 minutes. So
he does not rise to the level of a host. But, folks, if you've got legal questions, David and I have the answer. Give us a call at 215-227-2727. We got Cyrus Shaw. Hey, Cyrus.
Hi, Dean. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Just, get up to that microphone. Don't be scared of it.
Make love to the mic.
So Cyrus is here, David. We're gonna talk about Cyrus's segment right now. We got news stories, but before we get on to Cyrus, let's just pay our respects to the Biden family. Beau Biden passed away over the weekend from brain cancer. I was saying to you, David, that I didn't even hear about it all that much in the press, and it comes as a great shock to me and to the nation that Beau is gone. He used to be the Attorney General for the state of Delaware, and we wish the Biden family and really all of Delaware our deepest condolences.
Yeah. I think he was out of the limelight. He was diagnosed years ago, but treating, and I guess it was progressively getting worse. But
yeah,
you really didn't know it. The media, didn't really make a big thing of it because they kept him out of there, I guess. It's a shame. He's 46 years old.
Yeah, young man, and he seemed like a really nice guy. I know we have a lot of listeners in Delaware, and I wish them and the entire state our deepest condolences.
I'll tell you, the Biden family has Joe Biden has not wanted for a tragedy in his life. He's gone through a lot of things in his life.
He did.
Poor guy. It reminds me of almost like the Kennedy family. I hate to say it, but so much tragedy, all these different things that have happened over the years to him, to his family.
Yeah.
It's,
and they're not having an easy time of it down in Texas either.
No.
They've discovered some additional folks who have passed away as a result of the flooding. It's been declared a natural disaster area. The president is sending down some financial assistance.
I'm going to say this. This might be controversial. I certainly don't want anyone to die, and I feel for anyone who's passed away in Texas. But all the other things they're going through, who cares? They don't even want to be part of our country.
Yeah.
And I wish them more flooding, no deaths, but I wish you more pain and suffering. You Texas officials.
Wow, there you go. What's Texas doing that's got you all rankled and riled?
Come on, it's the seat of everything.
Discontent?
Yeah. Well, first of all, they're always talking about seceding from the United States. Number one. Number two. I don't need to tell you how many politically right, families and money comes from Texas. It's always the seat of something against people going on,
Yeah, it's definitely a place that big business has its way, and not they're not looking out for the little guy in Texas.
Now there are a lot of the liberal or progressive factions. You got Austin, you got San Antonio, you got all cool cities in Texas, and they're hurting now, and I really feel for them, for the flooding. But the people with the money in Texas, now you're going to have to spend a little. Okay, there you go.
215.
Put a little more into your state.
215-227-2727. Let's see if our folks agree with you on Texas, David.
Let's not say, I would say that more than half the people in Texas, I would believe, think climate change is a hoax. Okay, so you're now experiencing it firsthand.
There you go. Amtrak's installing cameras.
And it was like, $20,000 per car? Is that what they said? Yeah. Well, it's a small price to pay for what happened in that tragedy, and they certainly have the money to do it. They've been funded, and
it's actually it is $20,000 per car, but in real dollars, in the what it's going to cost them system wide, $1.4 million,
which is nothing. But let me ask you this, Dean. What is that going to do? I mean, I understand they should really put the money into that system, which they've already installed, I think, in that Northeast Corridor area, that slows the train down automatically.
Right.
What's a video going to do?
I guess it's
so the guy's sleeping or texting at the time.
Yeah.
Well, so what? I mean, that's after the fact. So after the tragedy happens, you can watch the video.
Well, the question is, what happened to this engineer? What was he doing that permitted him to go?
We're never going to know.
Double the speed limit that track was rated for.
We're never going to know.
Yeah,
because we don't have video, and I guess that's
why they want the video.
Yeah, I guess
that's why they want the video. All right, let's get the show going. We got callers calling in, but we got Cyrus here who's talking about living wills and financial documents. What's it all about?
Hi, Dean. How you doing?
You wanted to talk about something.
Yeah.
So what is it you want to talk about?
Well, keeping with our gloomy theme of the morning.
That's not MORN. That's MOURN. Yes.
Here to talk about death and end of life.
Dun, 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 dun.
So Dean, I'm here to talk about the living will, the healthcare power of attorney, and financial power of attorney. Excuse me, 3 documents that everyone, all of your listeners should have, but unfortunately only about 20% or 1 in 5 Americans do. And
what are those 3 documents? Name them.
Okay, so first we've got the living will.
Yes.
Then we've got the medical power of attorney.
Yes.
And then we've got the financial power of attorney.
All right, starting from the end backwards, what's a financial power of attorney?
So a financial power of attorney, it allows you to name an agent who can basically they can pay your bills if you're in the hospital. They can do financial transactions for you when you're not able to. So if you're in the hospital, whatever the situation may be, if you're in a coma, maybe you've had surgery, you're going to be in the hospital for 3 months. You might need your mortgage paid. You might need.
So they could actually write checks for you.
Exactly.
Can they write checks to themselves?
Well, that's the thing. They're not supposed to do that.
But they can.
They can. There are civil and criminal penalties for people that do, and that's why.
But you want to pick somebody who you really trust.
Exactly, Dean. So you want.
I mean, I wouldn't. Ask somebody like David to be my power of attorney.
Then that's smart. I'd clean you out in a second.
Not at all. You can, you would probably name your spouse. You can name your kids.
I don't have one of those anymore, but
right, or your kids, whoever you want, you can name, and you can also name alternates. So, for example, even though you might have a joint bank account with your spouse. There might be a time where they need to access your 401k or your IRA, and that might just be just in your name. So they can access the person you give the power of attorney to can access that.
How long does it take to prepare one of these documents?
This can be done. We can actually prepare all 3. We could do it in as little as half an hour. But we're in no rush if you do come in. We can, we'll sit down. The clock's not running. We can take an hour. We can do an hour and a half.
Cost, how much?
$249 for one person. If you're a couple, we have a special $299
for all 3 documents.
For all 3 documents.
Wow.
And the idea is, if you don't have one of these financial powers of attorney, and it does come the time where your daughter, your son has to access your accounts, then you got to get the courts involved. Then you're looking at potentially attorney's fees on top of that, and also court costs, court supervision. So this can end up costing you thousands of dollars if you don't have one of these.
Dare I say that $299 even is not only a great price, but why would you ever do anything? I know that the people go online now. There's certain companies online that do these legal, and it would probably cost almost the same.
Were you about to say legal doom, Dave?
Where you get no advice, and you're going to spend almost the same amount of money, right?
Yeah.
Why would you do those documents of that importance with no advice?
Exactly.
Doesn't make sense.
Exactly, no. Like I said, you can name all alternates. We can specify. We can give as little or as much power to the people you name.
Right.
And the other thing about the healthcare power of attorney is, and the living will, is oftentimes it's almost a gift to your family members.
It's actually, you can't use it, by the way. You can't, that's been taken. Power to the people. You can't say those 3 words, okay? You can't say, power to the people, 4 words. You can't say them together like that, okay?
Why not?
Because it's been used already. Stop it, okay? You'll have to come up with a different tagline. No more power to the people. Okay?
Did you say power to the people?
He said power to the people. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. All right, let's talk to Yvonne on line 2, who's got a question about her job. Hey, Yvonne, welcome to Court Radio.
Praise the Lord. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Were you listening to Cyrus talking about living wills and stuff?
Yes, I was.
Do you have one?
And last year I was looking to that, but things happened and I just forgot all about it.
There you go. That's what happens.
And unfortunately, Dean, not to cut off Yvonne, but most people don't have them, and usually it's too late. Usually that's when the person is at the end of stage of life, and then there's a lot of guilt involved with the families that they feel, what did mom want? What did dad want?
Right.
And that's why you
what happens is people who don't have, if I'm growing up, I'm just done college. I got a lot of debt and I got no assets. What do I need with your documents for? And then just as that happens, you're walking across the street,
and hit by a bus.
You get hit by a bus, and then all of a sudden you're worth more gone than you ever were here. In other words, you potentially have a lawsuit that David and I are representing the estate on, and the money is going to go to people you might not want it to go to. And so, for $149, it's like a no-brainer. All right, Yvonne, I jumped on your question. I'm sorry. What happened with you? Come on, tell us. We're waiting.
Okay. My son, he just happened last week. He was at work. He got hurt in the job. He broke his finger and got caught in the machine. His reflexes were to hurry up and put it, place the finger back, snap it back in. It hurt. Well, make a long story short. So he went to the hospital. I left work, met him at the hospital. Then a day or 2 later, he took papers from the hospital to the job. They have him fill out, an explanation of what happened and everything. He hasn't been back to work since.
Okay, question.
What's the question?
So do you have a case?
He has a workers' compensation claim for sure. See, you don't need to be, you can be at fault for causing your injury. Your employer doesn't need to be negligent. When you're injured on the job, you're entitled to your medical benefits, so you don't have to pay a nickel for a doctor for the rest of your life for the injury you sustained on the job. And if you can't work because of that injury, then you're entitled to be compensated for the wages you've lost because you're not able to work due to the injury. You get those 2 things. What you do not get is pain and suffering. So if this injury were caused by the negligence of Cyrus, if Cyrus were walking down the street and he negligently tripped your son and he hurt his hand, then Cyrus, in addition to having to pay for your son's medical bills,
Deep pocket.
yeah, very. His family has a lot of money. So in addition to paying for your son's medical bills and for his lost wages, he'd have to pay for your son's pain and suffering. Could be millions. But in a wage loss claim, in a workers' compensation case, you give up the pain and suffering. But you're, without a doubt, you get the medical expenses and you get the wage replacement. And so if, that's what your son's entitled to. And if he's going to be out for more than a few days, he should give us a call at 215-227-2727 because we'll represent him on his workers' comp claim.
Okay, another question. Now, they called him in 3-4 days after that, had him fill out what had happened on the job and said that they was going to send out for his drug test.
For his what?
Drug test.
Oh, drug test, yes.
And what was that last thing he said?
They never called him back.
Okay, so, you called him back to come into work?
Right.
So, in other words, he thinks he's been fired?
He thinks so because they, the lady, when he got hurt in the job, he went there to see the lady that does everything, file paperwork and,
human
resources or something.
Yeah.
Yes, and she said that it don't take this long for no drug test.
Yeah, well, whether it's a drug test or not, let me ask you a question. Is he injured today does this injury continue from when he was first injured, and does that injury prevent him from going back to work?
Now that he would have to get light duty because he has to see a hand specialist.
Okay, so if they're going to provide him with light duty, then that's fine. If they have light duty, and so a lot of employers don't even offer that. But nonetheless, it sounds to me like your son would benefit from a consultation with the office regarding his potential workers' compensation claim. And by all means, tell him to give us a call during the week, 215-227-2727.
Okay.
Yvonne.
Thank you. Yes.
Dear, thank you for listening to Core Radio and for great questions.
Questions.
Yeah, thanks.
We only allowed one question. We allowed two.
Yeah, David was David's. The smoke was coming out of David's ears because we have a one question limit here on Court Radio.
We used to be we're suckers now. We used to really.
I'm not doing it anymore.
Right.
Okay,
we're gonna just hang up.
The next two questions.
Boom.
That's it. You're not even
click.
Boom.
Not
Done.
even. Yeah, just click.
Let's talk to Monica. Monica. We don't know Monica. Hello, Monica. Welcome to Core Radio.
Hey, Dan and Dave. It's me. It's Monica. I'm calling from Myrtle Beach. We're listening online to you guys.
Myrtle Beach.
Wow, Myrtle Beach.
Yeah,
cool. Where?
Right there today.
South Carolina. I know it well.
David has a beach house there.
No.
About 25 people here listening.
Really?
Wow.
Whoa.
It's a Core Radio party.
Some life you guys have in Myrtle Beach. Wow.
7:15.
We're listening to Core Radio. Woohoo.
Gathered around the computer. So do you got a question or something in Myrtle Beach?
Yeah. This is a question that we have. When you're signing your estate over or end of life, does the person that you're signing your stuff over to, do they have to be there in the lawyer's office? And number two, are there any protections to make sure that when you sign that stuff over, that the person is not taking advantage of the situation, like spending money on themselves and stuff like that?
Okay, well first of all, the first question first. Does the person who you're assigning the power to have to be a signator on the documents?
Right. So do they need to come into the office with the person, or?
We're all shaking our heads. The answer is no. They don't need to be. But I will say, I've done that many times where I've done these documents. You should make them aware that you're doing this because I've seen this so many times. You don't even think about it, but you'll think about it right now. What happens if you do pass away? You haven't told them that they're the one, right? And you really haven't told anyone. Do they even know that you have a document? Now they got to go searching your house to see if you have a document. I tell everyone who does a will, living will, all that kind of stuff, put it in an envelope, in a place that you know where it's going to be, tell people about it, or at least leave another note or something in your house that says, here are all my documents, and here's where they are, so that it just makes it easier when you pass for people to find them.
And you definitely don't want to put it in a safe deposit box.
No, don't do that.
That could be extremely difficult
to get out.
Yeah.
Wow, I never thought about that. don't put your important papers in the safe deposit box.
Not unless you give everyone you know the right to get into it, or at least the person you've designated as your executor, the right to get into it.
What we do at My Philly Lawyer is we hold some of the documents on behalf of our clients,
so that they'll hire you as the attorney when.
Well, that as well. There's a good marketing angle to it, but it
hold
also
them hostage.
It also keeps it safe for our clients. All right. Well, Monica.
So wait, second question.
No. Yeah. Here's the second.
Oh wait, you violated Monica, the producer of the show, just violated the show's tenet. Cut her off.
Dean, could I also chime in just briefly for a second?
All right, well,
an ancillary reason also might be tax reasons. The person, you might be leaving it to someone. They might get hit with a large capital gains tax that they might have to pay once they inherit it, or some other tax consequence. So you definitely do want to apprise them.
There you go.
That's one of the many reasons.
Okay, Monica, thanks for calling for Court Radio from South Carolina. Have a great Sunday, and peace be with you. We're not answering your. We're not answering
your
second question. You'll have to get back in the queue.
I actually had a question for
answer
Monica.
online.
Are they having? Is she cooking up some breakfast over there? Are there any?
You got breakfast
pancakes?
going? Pancakes.
Yeah, we got breakfast going, eggs, hash browns,
Nice.
smoothies, everything.
Great.
Cyrus is
on his way. Actually,
Yeah.
It's only 11 hours. It's only 11-hour drive.
All
Get in
you
your car
see right now is smoke coming out of Cyrus's feet as they scuttle. Okay.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm out.
All right. See you, Cyrus. Monica, be well. Take care. We're going to go to break. We'll be back in 2 minutes right after these announcements.
It's a legal and financial squeeze. You're unable to work because of an accident, but your legal case is still not settled, so you can't pay the bills to take care of your family. But now, thanks to U.S. Claims, you can. If you have a pending lawsuit, call 1-877-U.S. Claims. While you're waiting for your settlement, U.S. Claims can help you pay the bills. Get out of the squeeze. Call 1-877-U.S. Claims today. If you have legal problems and need answers, call My Philly Lawyer, Dean Weitzman, first at 215-227-2727 for personal injury, medical malpractice, birth injury, and more. Call Dean first.
He will fight for your rights. That's what Dean Weitzman is all about.
Call My Philly Lawyer, Dean Weitzman, first. 215-227-2727. My Philly Lawyer, when winning matters most. For 20 years, Center City Medical Center has provided premium expert medical services for Philadelphia. Whether you need musculoskeletal rehab or an immigration physical, call 888-945-EXAM. Our board-certified physicians have more than 80 years' experience from post-injury rehab to DNA paternity testing. To make an appointment at one of our 3 convenient locations, call 888-945-EXAM. Get premium expert care. Center City Medical Center, serving Northeast, North, and Center City, Philadelphia. If you've been injured on the job and are entitled to workers' comp, you need someone fighting for you from the start. Call Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law. Don't rely on your employer or insurance company to get it right. Call 215-512-1500. If you're entitled to workers' comp or it's being challenged, Jeffrey Gross can help get the money you deserve, and he won't get paid unless you get paid. Call 215-512-1500. Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law, representing Pennsylvania's injured workers for more than 20 years.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning and welcome back. It's Court Radio, and I'm Dean Weitzman, joined in the studio with my co-host. You hear him here every Sunday. He's the one and the only, David M. Rappaport.
Hello.
Hello, Dave.
Howdy.
Howdy to you, too.
Howdy,
folks. If you've got legal questions, David and I have the answer. Give us a call at 215-227-2727. We're going to take our first caller. It's Mike from West Philly who's got a custody issue. Michael, welcome to Court Radio.
Hello, how you doing today?
We're doing well, thank you. How about you?
All right. Not too good because I went to court. I just wanted to ask the question, what is it when men just go and try to do the right thing and get custody of a kid or get joint custody? The judge looks at you and talks to you like you're doing something wrong.
Well,
all your paperwork is right. I didn't have money to get a lawyer, so I guess that's why I lost.
Well, no, people don't want to admit it, but there still is, I think, a bias. Even in society, it's more unusual for the man to want custody as it is for, the mother to have custody already, and the man is fly by night, And it's just a stereotype that's been built up over years and years and years.
I think it's diminishing. I think it is diminishing.
It's getting better.
I've represented people, men who, and I don't do family law any longer. So, my office does, my Philly lawyer does, but I don't. But when I did, I had fathers who received full custody. So it can happen, but it requires, I believe, an extra amount of representation. It requires an extra amount of advocacy. And oftentimes in these situations, especially in family law situations, when the litigants are representing themselves, they are at a grave disadvantage. And I think that in all of the law, family law matters especially, require independent counsel.
Did she have a lawyer?
She did, but I couldn't afford one.
There you go.
Like $260 a week.
There you
had
go.
A lawyer.
That's what it was. She had a lawyer. You didn't, and you were out-lawyered, basically, it sounds to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they sent the courts to my house. They say my house is wonderful, and the guy said I shouldn't have a problem. But I was in my door. She's 4, and I've been in her life the whole time.
And now you don't have any visitation at all now?
Well, she gave me when we started back in February, the judge gave me. I had expedited. I started on January the 7th, and February the 1st, the 31st, the 30th, the 20th, we went to court. The judge gave me until we went to court in May, every other weekend. So I've been complying. She hasn't. I went down there to complain, like they send you this floor, that floor, that floor. And then so we went this time, and I told you because 2 times she didn't give her to me. And she continued, make a long story short again, I'm sitting there begging, just can I get every weekend or trying to get joint custody? But now the judge was just so mean. She's just so mean and nasty. I mean, real mean and nasty. She just took her from the date from yesterday. Now we go back to court in September for mental evaluation. Now,
And you still have
every other weekend.
Right? You still have your daughter every other weekend, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, between now and September, I really would
save up
and do what you can to get representation, because I think that makes the difference. And maybe and I don't know, we're not going to get into the details of what it is you want here on Court Radio, but maybe what you want is unrealistic as far as what to expect. Maybe it's just your expectations that need to be adjusted. I don't know. But if you have a consultation with an attorney who's done this 1,000 times, clearly you'll get the benefit of that experience, and you'll know what to expect and what not to expect. And so I think that the bottom line is that even if you have to borrow from friends and family, if you can get your own representation in this case, it clearly will give you a great advantage. And
even if you get just advice and then go,
and do it yourself.
It's hard because when you go down there, it's just like you hear some of your horror stories. It's just like I'm trying to find someone that can help me.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you're not going to find somebody for free, and so
no, to pay, but it's I understand what you're saying.
Give us a call. Irina Shiloh from My Philly Lawyer is the attorney at our office who focuses her practice on domestic relations. So you can always give Irina a call and sit down with her. As I said, though, there are fees associated with representation in family law matters, but I think it's worth the investment for you to sit down with somebody, spend an hour, and get a sense of what to expect at the very least. 215-227-2727. Give us a call during the week and have a great Sunday.
All right.
All right.
All right.
I hear so many horror stories, David, of people who really need representation on family law matters, and they just don't have the funds to do it.
Yeah, and I kind of, and we don't know this situation specifically, but I hope it's not what I think, which is a judge, giving sort of preferential treatment just because she had a lawyer and kind of dismissing him because, you don't have a lawyer, I'm not going to listen to you. Because those judges should know by now. I mean, when you do that kind of work, you got to be impartial and,
And the thing
listen
is,
to everything.
A lot of times you may be you may be hitting it right on the head.
Yeah.
A lot of times judges might think, hey, if you don't have a few dollars to invest in a lawyer,
right,
how much do you really want to have your kid?
Or if you're not going to spend to get a lawyer, then you're not serious about it,
Right.
which isn't true. People just maybe can't afford it. It's simple.
Yeah. 215-227-2727. You got legal questions. David and I have the answer. All right, David, we've been talking about wills and estates, but you and I wanted to talk about something today that's near and dear to us that seems like every time we go to work in the morning, we're faced with another issue that people get themselves into unnecessarily.
If I have to, the one thing I would like to eradicate in my business is people coming in with, any type of horrific incident with their vehicle, and then they have limited tort. I'm so sick of explaining limited tort to people, and they act like they've never heard it before. What? Limited tort? I can't do that. It makes me crazy.
Well, to segue back to Cyrus's issue,
right?
People think they're never going to need their insurance,
right?
And so they think,
I'll save money.
Let me save some money and be legal and have the minimum necessary because I'm not going to get into an accident. And then the next day, they're in an accident, and they're broken up, and they're got pain, suffering, aggravation. They come to you and they say, I heard you talking about
but it was
limited
cheaper.
tort.
But you know what? I have a new angle on this.
Yeah,
a new way of explaining it, which is, okay, we all have to have auto insurance, right? We have to have it.
If you own a car in Pennsylvania,
you must have it. And if you get what's considered the minimal coverage, the coverage that you're only required to have, okay, basically what you're doing is investing in someone else. You're protecting yourself, but you're investing in someone else's future when you cause an accident and they're injured because they're going to get paid by your insurance. But if you have limited tort, you're at the same time de-investing in yourself. You're saying, I want to give them things, but I'm not going to give myself the same thing if I'm in an accident. And it's the craziest logic.
Not having uninsured motorists.
Right.
Not having underinsured
I'm not going to do
motorists.
things for myself. I'm going to get insurance for everyone else but myself. The only thing it's going to do is protect me if I cause an accident.
All right, 30 seconds. What's the insurance you need?
Okay, you need full tort, T-O-R-T, tort. Full tort, not full coverage. There's no such thing. Full tort. Uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. You already get medical coverage automatically. You might want to even increase that. It's only $5,000. To get $10,000 costs.
So you need
nothing.
four things. You need medical coverage, which you get.
Yes.
Uninsured motorist, underinsured motorist, and full tort.
Right, and you can get collision if your car is worth something. If it's a 1990 Pinto with 300,000 miles on it.
They didn't make a Pinto in 1990.
Yeah, that was already banned by then, right?
215-227-2727. We want to hear if you have questions about your insurance for your auto. I advise, I got friends and family who call me and say, hey, Dean, I'm getting my policy's coming up for renewal. What do I need to have? And I sit down with them and I go through what their policy should look like. Ultimately, a lot of times we save money by making better choices.
Sure.
You say, if you have an older car, I say, listen, even if you have a car that's worth $5,000, $6,000, $7,000.
Well, that's a lot, I think.
But you don't have to insure it. If you have to make a financial decision,
Right.
better to insure your body.
Oh, I agree.
And have uninsured and underinsured motorists than to insure this $5,000 piece of metal.
Well, that you say that, but you will also agree with me, I think, that the main number one thing that people, when they call and they're in an accident, if they're not catastrophically injured, number one thing that they're up in arms about is what? Their car.
Yes.
Every 2 seconds, my car. Because let's face it, this is how people get to work. This is how they live their lives. So the car is very important.
I am trying to change that. I want more people to utilize public transportation and less cars.
Well, you're right.
I want gas to be $9 a gallon. That's what I want. Gas to be $9 a gallon, and us to have the coolest, highest tech public transportation system, not SEPTA. Okay, the new Philly public transportation system, light rail and monorails.
Please, not in your lifetime, my friend.
215-227-2727. Let's take a caller. Let's talk to Warren on line 2. Hey, Warren, where are you from?
Hey, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Your whole life?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, me too.
Is there another
too.
Philadelphia around?
There is.
There is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Yeah,
Mississippi, yeah.
There you go.
You could have been from Mississippi and Texas. Oh,
Yeah.
there's a Philadelphia, Texas?
Yeah.
Larry tells us there is.
I made it. The first paper ball I made into the trash can today, and it's 35 after the hour.
The Sixers might hire you.
Yeah.
You made something. You made a basket.
Warren from Philadelphia's whole life. Philadelphia Public Schools, the whole bit, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
So what's your question, Warren?
My question is about paternity. I found out I wasn't a father, paying child support. I have to go back to court, and they're going to make a judgment if I'm going to be able to pay or still pay for a child that's not mine.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay. I didn't understand. You're going to go back to
How long you been paying?
Right now, roughly about almost 3 months. Started.
Okay.
Just started. Okay. And as a part of that process, they had paternity testing, which came back that you're not the dad.
0% that I'm not the dad.
Yeah. Okay. And so the question is,
Can we have some applause there? No, I'm just kidding.
So how old's the kid? How old's the baby?
The kid is 5 now.
Kid's 5, but you've only been paying for 3 months.
Yes.
Did they
just
tackle
me? I was married to this person, and we broke up, and we got a paternity test, and found out I wasn't the father.
Did they tack
Was that a
arrears?
shock? Was that a shock to you?
Yes, it was. Very shocked. Well, I had to take some time off from work and everything.
Wow, yeah. And so you still want to pay support? Is that what you're saying?
No, he does not want to pay.
No, I don't want to pay no support.
All right. Did
I
they
just want to resolve the matter, period.
Did they tack arrears onto your order?
No, it's no arrears at all.
Okay. All right.
So, and let me ask you this, Warren. It's important. These are important matters that you have before you. Probably one of the most important matters of your life, and obviously very emotional too. Did you get representation by counsel for this matter?
Not yet. I was in the process of it. I took off some time from my job. I couldn't afford it right now, but I'm.
You got to find the. You got to find the money. You got to find the means to get representation, because I've heard fathers who aren't fathers be responsible to pay child support when the court knows it's not their child.
It's very rare.
It is, but it happens, and so don't think that you're just going to skate in there and hold up that paternity test and skate back out unscathed, because that could be the biggest mistake of your life.
Right, but they gave me the test that she's on welfare.
Yeah.
And I'm paying welfare.
Yeah, well, that's right. So they wanted to make sure.
And welfare wants to get paid, and sometimes they don't care who they get paid from. But
I'm kind of sick of that.
Yeah. So I would say that you should have representation. I can't say it enough times. When it comes to family court, if you're going in unrepresented, you're at a grave disadvantage. So, the Department of Welfare has representation. They got their team of lawyers, and you need to have your lawyer. Okay, so if
Right.
you got to give somebody a call. If you need representation, you can always turn to My Philly Lawyer. We have a team of people doing domestic relations. Give us a call at 215-227-2727.
Right. Well, what this question was also because when the baby was born, I was like really dumbfounded about it, and they told me because I signed acknowledge of paternity that I'll be liable for it.
Right, you signed an acknowledgement of paternity saying that you're the dad, and now you've come to find out through genetic testing that you're not, and so you need to rescind that, and that's why I'm telling you need to have representation.
Yeah, because there's reasons why obvious reasons why you can rescind it, but it was a mistake. But it needs to be argued the right way, presented the right way, or else it could be considered that you accepted paternity. And
as I said, folks can accept paternity and act like a father and pay like a father and then learn later that they're really not, but they're still going to have to pay. And so I don't want to see that happen to you. You need to have representation in this really, probably, as I said, one of the most important decisions of your life.
All right, so if I go to court Friday and he makes surrender and tells me I still have to pay, can I still get representation and go back?
Yeah, now that
yes,
is not
but
that is not the way you want to do it.
Yeah,
that's not the way you want to do it.
I would go in if you can't get a lawyer by Friday. I would go there on Friday and tell the judge that you want a lawyer and you're going to get one,
right?
And to postpone this and revisit.
Now the judge can always speak up at that point. If you start by saying I want a lawyer, the judge might speak up and say, "No, you don't need one. We've already made a decision. You're done."
Right.
But that's how I would propose it. I would go in asking for a continuance so that you can get a lawyer if you don't have one by Friday. But I would try to get one by Friday. I think that it's that important.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be that expensive to go in for a hearing, really.
Well,
I'll give your office a call on Monday.
Okay. All right. You do that, Warren. Warren from Philly, thanks for calling Court Radio. Have a great Sunday.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Can you imagine, David?
Yeah.
Thinking
you might give him a T-shirt.
You're married and you're thinking it's your child, and then
horrible.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk to Bill from Delaware, who's patiently been on the line. Hey, Bill, welcome to Court Radio.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Good, thanks. Go on.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Fast question. I have a property in New Jersey. I have a hearing coming up for the property assessment.
Yep.
To try to reduce the taxes.
Okay.
Do I need a lawyer to go with me on that, or
do you need a lawyer?
Well, let me ask you this: Do you have the property appraised by a certified appraiser?
No.
Yeah. And you want to know if you need a lawyer?
Yeah, so what's your argument going to be for why you need lower taxes?
You want to get your property reassessed. You want to get your property reassessed, and where's the proof? What are you going in with? Yeah, go ahead.
The proof I have is the other property similar to my property and the price that they were sold for.
You're right. That's great proof, except you're not an appraiser who is certified to do that.
And and there may be differences.
So your word means nothing.
There may be differences between these other properties that you think are similar, differences that could affect the price. I would say that at a minimum,
you need an appraisal.
You need an appraisal.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a process. It takes time and money to get a property appraised. I just bought a house, and I thought the property was worth X. And it got appraised, and it was less than X. And but other properties in the neighborhood sold for what I thought the value of my property was. But time had changed, and the property values had gone down, and things that I didn't take into consideration because I'm not an appraiser. And my property was worth a lot less than the other properties. And so, again, it's not as intuitive as it looks. And just because there are properties next door that sold for less doesn't necessarily mean that yours is worth the same amount. And I would say that, if you had an attorney, the attorney probably would tell you, go get an appraiser, go get an appraisal.
Well, the attorney or she would find an appraiser, a company, and get an appraisal of the property. And that would be your evidence to present to the court.
How long have you owned the property?
it was my father's property before he passed away. So I've owned it for at least 15 years.
How much you paying in taxes?
Close to about $10,000 a year.
Ouch.
Yeah. Jersey kills you in taxes.
Jersey is a killer for that kind of stuff.
It's all those donuts.
You got to fund the donuts.
It's the donut fund. Well, I would say get yourself an appraiser. That's what I would say. Before you run out to get a lawyer, I'd say get an appraiser and get a certified appraisal for your property. And then if the appraiser comes in and the value of the property is where you think it should be, right. Then I think you're in a better position than you are today. But you're paying 10 G's a year on taxes. An appraiser is going to be under $1,000.
Yeah, probably $500.
So for $500, $700, something like that, you get an appraiser who says he's right. The property value's much less than you think it is, state of New Jersey.
And for $1,500, you get an appraiser to say whatever you want him to do. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I like the way you think.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
Bill.
All right. Well, thank you.
Take care, buddy. 215-227-2727. We got Nicole from Levittown on line 2. Hey, Nicole, welcome to Court Radio.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How's Levittown doing today?
It's beautiful today.
Is it? You're going to go to the pool?
I'm actually heading to the Trenton Thunder game with my family.
Nice. The Trenton Thunder game.
Okay.
How much is it? Is it expensive to go to the Thunder game?
No, not at all. Most tickets are about $13, and if you're going like a dollar hot dog day, it's the best.
Is it dollar hot dog?
Fireworks and everything.
Is that today? Dollar hot dog day?
Not today. Today we're going to March of Dimes.
Oh, okay.
And it's probably a lot more rewarding than going to the Phillies.
Yeah,
game.
right. It's better to watch than watching the Phillies.
Yeah, does the Thunder win once in a while?
It's about enjoying the day.
Yeah,
right. Who cares about the game anyway, right?
Right. So, okay, you're going to the Trenton Thunder game. You're going over to that other state, New Jersey, and you're going to enjoy the day. And I think we're not going to have rain, I don't think, today until probably sometime late this afternoon. So you should be good to go. But I want to set you up right. So when you go to the Thunder game, you're feeling content and at ease. So to do that, you got to give me your legal question.
Okay. So I have a daughter and a son who, my son is not a minor anymore, but he was. He just graduated last year.
Wait a minute.
Stop. You sound like
stop.
How old are you?
Yeah, you're sounding like you're 14.
Yeah. Oh, I'm 40.
40?
40. You're 14. Yeah. Come on, you're 14.
You're really 14, right?
No, I'm 40.
Wow. Okay.
That voice, you could do a little voiceover.
Yeah, you could do like one of those cartoons or something, and play the little girl. Okay, so you're 40. You've got a son who's now of the age of majority, as we say in the legal profession.
Yes.
Go ahead.
3 to 4 years ago, my daughter prosecuted my ex-husband, obviously for abuse, and he automatically, the first thing he did when he was arrested, he requested child support be stopped. I guess apparently while they're away, if there's any arrearages, it adds on to their sentence.
Right.
I protested. I requested a meeting with the magistrate of the court, and I got one. I explained to him a couple of things. One, the gentleman, this was recent, like this was new when I went to him. I said he still owned a house, he had a 401k, he had property, he had vehicles, he had assets. And I was requesting that they not close out the child support or the arrearages. The gentleman told me that in the state of Pennsylvania, unfortunately, any time someone goes away or incarcerated for long periods of time, they automatically close out the account because it affects their numbers as far as, I guess, state funding and such. I then appealed, and I got denied, and it got turned down. I appealed again, and it went to the court system. I went in front of a judge, and this time I brought with me his 401k bank statement because my son was left his power of attorney even though he wasn't of age, so everything got sent to us. So I knew that he had assets. I received a judgment from the judge from the county of Bucks for whatever was left in that 401k account. They spoke to him on the phone, and he was to comply with the court order and send in certain paperwork. He spoke to the judge. The judge told him that he had to do this by a certain amount of time. He stated he was willing. He then did not comply, nor did the former employer comply, even though they were sent multiple notices to comply. This county of Bucks closed it out again for lack of information. I then disputed again. I appeared in court.
Did you have a lawyer?
In court, they didn't even realize that he wasn't showing up because he was incarcerated. I went in front of a judge.
Wait. Can you stop for a minute? Can you stop?
I'm sorry.
Did you have a lawyer throughout all this?
No, because everything was through the magistrate.
Okay, this is. We'll let you finish your story, but this is the biggest caveat of what we were saying. Seems to be a theme today about getting a lawyer. When those orders were not complied with, if you had a lawyer, the lawyer would have filed things to enforce the orders. Contempt orders would have been issued, and then probably orders to get those funds would have been issued. But instead, you kind of got led through the system blindly because you don't have a lawyer. So you're going through this whole every step of the way that you talk about.
By the way,
this
just out of curiosity, because I'm a practical guy.
Yeah.
How much was in the 401k?
Over $20,000.
Okay. So it's enough money, right? If you're going to get 20 G's, it's enough money to.
It's really not even about the money for me.
But
it's about the principle.
I know, but
but
you're going through this this process. And you want to be productive because at the end of the process, you want to accomplish what it is. I don't care why you're trying to get it done.
Right.
Principle, because you want the cash.
Whatever the reason.
The reason, you're going through the process. And so you want at the end to be a winner. You feel like you got 20 grand at stake.
Yeah, you feel like you've been spinning your wheels, I think. That's part of what you're calling us. Because you don't have a lawyer.
Because at some point I contacted my state representative, who then contacted the head of Harrisburg Child Support. And they actually called me and told me that it's erroneously closed multiple times because there's actually a state statute that says if the individual is the victim and the parent is the perpetrator, they are not allowed to close it.
Right.
But you know this because know this because you went to Temple Law School.
I like that exception. I like that exception.
So do I.
But you need representation.
Yeah, you're spinning your wheels.
That's the bottom line on this story.
Simple, yeah.
If you get representation, you'll accomplish a lot more than you have up till now. That's my belief.
It's obvious.
And but. You can continue to try to do this on your own. Politicians can only go so far. They're not going to be in court with you in front of the judge, and the judge may not know all of the orders that need to be filed in order to accomplish what you want. I'll tell you this. It isn't an easy thing. This is a collection matter, in essence, David, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And you've got to force a bank to part with the cash that is their account holders' money,
and it's a 401k, which is there's strict rules about 401k.
And the only way you're going to get the bank to part with that money is to give them the right documents from the court, and it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy, and you need representation. Bottom line. Enjoy the Thunder game. Have a great Sunday. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back in 1-2 minutes.
It's a legal and financial squeeze. You're unable to work because of an accident, but your legal case is still not settled, so you can't pay the bills to take care of your family. But now, thanks to U.S. Claims, you can. If you have a pending lawsuit, call 1-877-US-CLAIMS. While you're waiting for your settlement, U.S. Claims can help you pay the bills. Get out of the squeeze. Call 1-877-US-CLAIMS today. If you have legal problems and need answers, call My Philly lawyer, Dean Weitzman, first at 215-227-2727 for personal injury, medical malpractice, birth injury, and more. Call Dean first.
He will fight for your rights. That's what Dean Weissman is all about.
Call My Philly lawyer, Dean Weitzman, first. 215-227-2727. My Philly lawyer, when winning matters most. For 20 years, Center City Medical Center has provided premium expert medical services for Philadelphia. Whether you need musculoskeletal rehab or an immigration physical, call 888-945-EXAM. Our board-certified physicians have more than 80 years' experience from post-injury rehab to DNA paternity testing. To make an appointment at one of our 3 convenient locations, call 888-945-EXAM. Get premium expert care. Center City Medical Center, serving Northeast, North, and Center City, Philadelphia. If you've been injured on the job and are entitled to workers' comp, you need someone fighting for you from the start. Call Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law. Don't rely on your employer or insurance company to get it right. Call 215-512-1500. If you're entitled to workers' comp or it's being challenged, Jeffrey Gross can help get the money you deserve, and he won't get paid unless you get paid. Call 215-512-1500. Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law, representing Pennsylvania's injured workers for more than 20 years.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Hey, welcome back. It's Court Radio, and I'm Dean Weitzman, joined in the studio with my co-host, David M. Rappaport.
Hey.
What's the M stand for?
Michael.
There you go. I knew that. Wow. Sometimes I just don't ever know what's going to come out of your mouth.
Yes, Michael. I'll tell you.
215-227-2727. We got Gary on the line from Jersey who's got a question about municipal court. Hey, Gary, welcome to Court Radio.
Good morning, Double D.
Hey, good morning.
What's going on, Gary?
Like that, Double
Single
D?
G, yeah.
Yeah.
Double D, Gene and D.
I know, single G, Gary.
Okay.
No, it's little G.
Little G. Little G.
Little
I got
G.
a question for
All
you.
right.
I'm a real estate broker over here in New Jersey, and I got a summons sent to my office from a local township over here for failure to obtain a permit. Now, the problem is I never ordered it was a dumpster that was ordered on one of my properties by a vendor who was hired by the mortgage company that took a property back in foreclosure. Because I had a sign on the yard, they sent the summons to my office in my name. Now I had to pay for the permit. Now I got to go to court to pay the fine for something I didn't order. And I want to know 2 things. One, do I need a lawyer? And 2, should I even be paying this fine instead of sending this to the mortgage holder?
Okay, so we don't have a lot of time. Let me get right to it.
Yeah.
How much is the fine?
I really don't know just yet until I go to court.
Well, okay. So I'd call ahead of time and find out what the potential fine is, because let's say the fine's $100. Would you want to spend the money to get a lawyer for $100? No, because it'll cost you 10 times that. And so I really would find out how much the fine is. Yes, I think you have a great argument that the mortgage holder who ordered the dumpster is ultimately responsible for the cost of the permit and the fine if one is levied, because it's not you didn't institute this dumpster being there. However, as far as the township is concerned, you're the property owner. And anything that happens to or on that property is your responsibility. And so I believe that, as a strictly technical legal matter, you're responsible with regard to the township. However, I think if you went in and pled your case, I would bet you a donut. You are from Jersey. I would bet you a donut that you're going to get off of that fine if you